Hi everybody, welcome to the dungeon. My name is Robin and today is Flameworking 102.69, a lucky rainbow. There's nothing like having a lucky rainbow in your pocket. It is another piece from my mom. She loves rainbows, and that's really part of the reason why I wanted to make that flat iron cane the other week, was specifically to use it in this piece. I'm making another worry stone, but I've been having issues when I go to press the worry stone. It will push the design out of the way and just distort it. So this time I decided I would put a lot of layers of clear on top and then do my press to see how that worked, and it worked out great. So I'm excited to share it with you guys. It's lengthy, and I hope you stick around to the end. It's a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think. And on that note, I hope you're all doing safe and well out there. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time in the dungeon. All right, I'm going to start everything out with the base. And I have this color, it's called Marmo Tarchesi, and it's really just marbled turquoise. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but that's the best I can do. But it translates into marble turquoise, and that is this color. It's really beautiful. It's like a light blue, and then it has white running through it. So it's like the best color to use for a sky, and at least to start a sky background with. And that's what I'm going to do here. So I have gathered up about a ½ inch of this, and I'm going to punty up the bottom, and I will just take the rest of that off. And then I'm going to add some stripes to this because I want to do a wig-wag background. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of clean up my my shape. And what do we have here? It is about 1 inch by maybe a ½ inch here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and I don't have stringers of this turquoise, but I have the dark turquoise, and I'm just going to apply a few lines of this on the glass. And I'm just going to do 3, and then I will come in and add a bit of a white stringer in between those. And I'm just applying it by the base, and then just with the flame, melting it and walking it across the side of the piece. And I wish I had had a stringer for this one, but I didn't. So I'm back to using the marble turquoise, the Marmo, and I'm just adding a thinner amount on top of that darker turquoise, so it's not so dark. And then I'm just going to spend some time heating and shaping this whole thing up using the marble mold. And when I'm using the marble mold, I'm always pressing downward on the side of the piece, never really pushing in the front. So now that I have kind of a nice football shape, I'm going to punty up, and I always kind of roll my punty on my torch head like that, just to maybe pull that punty out a little bit and secure it to the side. All right, now we need to lengthen this quite a bit for us to do our pattern. So I've lengthened it to about 1 inch. And then I'm going to start heating up just this left side and give it a twist. I can get it real hot and then come out of the flame for a better control of my twist. And then I'm just going to spot heat that right side, and then I'm going to give a full heat right to where that twist ends. And heat that up, and then I will twist in the opposite direction. And then I'll just give a quick heat to that left punty, and then come back over to the right side and do one more final twist coming towards me. I thought this would be a fun, real subtle background for the rainbow. All right, now I am ready just to take a punty off, because the only reason why I needed that was to do this twist. And at this point, I need to start to kind of not squash this, but I need to shorten it a little bit. So I will just, first, I like to just shape up the bottom, make it nice and round and even around the punty, and then I'll work the middle and then the top. So I kind of work in segments. All right, a little on the top there, just to smooth everything out. Oh yes, I'm going to coat the whole thing in clear as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get my clear glass nice and hot, and I'll start at the top and gently swipe across the bead to the bottom side, overlapping as I go. And you can see by how I hold the clear rod that I kind of move the rod from the right to the left as well. And then when I get to the left side, that's when it's easier for me to pull the glass away in the flame. And if anything, if I'm going to reheat any of this, it's always the very first bit of clear glass that I laid down. I never want to heat up the pattern underneath. All right, we're just about done. A few more. And I definitely want to get just a little bit on the top as well, because that's where my, potentially, that's where a punty might go. All right, now that I have all this clear glass on here, I need to spend a whole bunch of time rolling it out and shaping it. Again, I'm starting at the bottom, and I will just slowly work my way in segments up to the top. And the shaping and the heating took forever on this bead, especially when we get into the top layers at the end. I had to cut quite a bit of this out just because it was a constant heating and shaping session. So here, I'm just trying to get all of that clear glass shaped and marvered down. And then once it's all smooth, I can start to shorten everything using the marble mold. And I'm just shortening it a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and roll on the bottom half to get that nice side curve. A little bit more on the punty. And so now we want to start to think about like flattening this out. So I'm going to give it a really good reheat. And then because I want it, let's say, let me stretch the neck out here a little bit. So the punty is further away from where I'm working. Now we're going to go ahead and press this down, and I will press it down several times to get to the right size. I don't necessarily like to press, like get the glass super hot and press it down and, hope for the best. For me, I like to gently press as I go, so I don't, I just don't want it too big and flat. So I'm just taking my time getting it flat where I need it. Okay, a little bit more here. And I think we're just about to the final shape. Okay, let's size this up here. I think it's like about 1.5 inches by maybe a little bit more than 1.5 inches. My ruler is upside down. I'm sorry. Okay, so now at this point, here comes the cane that we made, this flat iron cane. And I am going to start out by heating where I want the cane to go. And I do heat the backside quite a bit before this happens so it stays warm. And then I'm going to heat just the side of the cane. And this time, because the cane is so wide, I felt more comfortable heating the backside of the cane as I make this full arc around the side of the pendant or the worry stone. And then I'm going to come around to the side and then go back up into my second arc on the back side, and then slowly make my way back down. And when I come to the connecting point, this time I just let it cool down for a second. I could probably break it off, but I just went back into the heat and just kind of pulled it down and away. And then that little section right there, we want to clean up. And as well, we want to clean up everything here. The sides of the cane did not fully fuse to the pendant. So basically, I spent probably a good 5 or 6 minutes heating little sections of the rainbow to then flatten it down with my butter knife. So there was a lot of this flattening and heating and flattening going on. So basically, and yes, you could, I called it a pendant, and because you could make it a pendant, you could put a loop on it at the end, or you could glue a bail onto it, whatever you want to do. But when I get the rainbow nice and low and flat, I bring the sides of the edges down to make it look a little bit more, like a rainbow. Bring these sides in a little bit, and I'll pull the bottom of the rainbow and then the top down. And then because I just moved some things around, that means I have to go back and flatten and pat everything down again. This piece took a little bit more than an hour to make, so I have whittled it down to this 20 minutes. I sped up most of it. However, the parts that I did cut out were pretty much just patting down with my butter knife. I tried to show you as much as I could. Now, once you like where the rainbow is, you're going to do one more flatten. And then we're going to start to add some of these clouds on the sides. And I'm just using one of those pre-made stringers. It's just white. It's like 2 millimeters or something. And I am just going to go ahead and start adding some dots to form the clouds. I don't want to come too close to the front of it, though. I really want to keep these clouds more on the side. Once we have one side done, I'm going to start to add some more to the other side. And we're just adding little tiny dots. That's all this is. Okay, so now every single time I add something, I have to spend twice as long heating and flattening it out. So that's what we're going to do again, just heating up these clouds. And also in between heating up just the clouds, you're constantly maintaining the warmth throughout the whole piece. And I'll just go in and flatten with that butter knife. And then once things get real close to the surface, I'll heat everything up and flatten it out one more time. And then spend a little bit more time trying to round it back out. You know, I think about this after the fact, because the scene here, the rainbow scene, it's very simple. It's just the background, a rainbow, and some clouds. But there's so much more that goes into making something like this, especially if you're looking to make it like spot on. So I just am really concerned about, you know, I want to make sure everything is perfect before I add this clear glass. Okay, so now to add all of my clear layers, I'm going to really heat up the side that I am not going to add the clear to first, because I don't want the side that I'm adding the clear to hot at all. It needs to be cool. So I spend all my time heating the back side while I'm getting the gather ready to swipe across the front side. And you can do the swipe straight up and down. I'm doing it at a slight angle. Either way, as long as the picture that you're adding your clear to is nice and chill and cool, you should be able to add your clear by swiping on without any problems of the background distorting. There is another way you could do this. You could get a very, very large gather of clear glass hot. I would probably use a large rod to keep it steady, like an 8 millimeter rod. And then you could drop it on top of this. You could do that a couple times to get the amount of clear you want on top, and then flatten it down. But I felt kind of weird about just gathering this huge, you know, ball of glass and laying it on here. So I preferred to just do the swiping method because I'm more comfortable with that at this point. All right, so now now that I've added, my glass, I feel like I need to raise it up kind of around the rim. So I am just adding this glass because it's a little low. And I want to be able to match the height of all of the clear glass. So I'm just adding where I need to finish this first layer. And then a whole bunch of heating, and keeping the outer shape nice and round, pulling in that clear where I need to so it doesn't go around the edge. And yeah, just a lot of flattening and gentle heating. And then once you have that clear glass looking nice and fire polished, nice and clear, you can flatten it out one more time like I'm going to do here. I just want to make sure everything's nice and cool again on that side before I add more clear. All right, so we're going to do another layer here. And this time I'm kind of more on the inside of the rainbow. And it's just a constant heating of the back every time I go to gather my clear. And then that will ensure that nothing pops off. I'm going to be okay. A little bit more, and we're almost done. Kind of swipe around the top there. All right, and then we're going to give this thing a nice heat and pull in the clear on the edges again. Heat my back up just to maintain the heat in the back as well, because when I go to press this down, I'm pressing down on the back side. So the more you neglect to heat the back side, the easier it might be for it to crack when you go to press it down. And yes, I'm going to add more clear. I figured if I have 3 layers of clear on here, there is no way that spoon will be able to distort the rainbow underneath. So I'm kind of, crossing my fingers at the same time. All right, so this is my big final heat for the clear. And I'm just flattening things down and getting everything back into a nice round shape. Basically, I'm trying to do a final shaping here. And this is where you can end your own design if you do not want to make it into a worry stone and press your indentation in. All right, I'm just making sure everything is exactly where I want it. Okay, so here's my spoon. Got a nice big spoon here. And I'm going to heat the backside up really well. And that's our final backside with no clear and the front side with the clear. All right, let's go ahead and put our impression in. I'm going to give the clear a really good full heat. It's really hard to tell when the clear is hot. Usually I get it hotter than I need to, but what I want to do here is I don't want to press it in just one press. I want to take my time and see that I'm not messing up my background pattern. And I do apologize for my hair being in the way here. I needed to have a kind of a higher view of where I was putting my impression. And then we're just going to heat the backside. And every time you make that press with the spoon, it will create the chill marks that you will want to fire polish out. And our last one here, I think, is final press. And then we will just spend our time heating and making sure everything looks perfect before I take it off the puntee. And the puntee, it should be very easy. The puntee is in the blue area. It's not in the clear at all. So really, it should be easy to take this off. So I have my kind of mini mashers here. Maybe not the best tool, but it worked. I didn't drop it this time. So I'm just going to go ahead and just heat up my tool a little bit, grab the top of the piece, making sure it's cool, and give that punty mark a nice fire polish and press it down if you need to. And that is our lucky rainbow pendant, you guys, or worry stone. I hope you all enjoy, and I hope that I see you all next time in the dungeon.